Welcome to Get Your Mind Right, Boots on the Ground, where we spotlight professionals in the field who have overcome challenges and how they work through them. Their stories offer real-world insights and tips for thriving in today's competitive landscape.
Welcome to Get Your Mind Right, the world's only podcast devoted to digital marketing and merchant services professionals. With me today is Jake No. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning.
Hey, it's great to have you on the show today.
Glad you have me.
You know what? First thing, I was going to do a vibe check on you, but you come in here wearing this just sublime blazer.
Thank you.
And I think the vibe check is just already presented itself.
Well, John, it is close to Valentine's Day here, and so had to break out the old polo, the vintage polo with the pink on it here. So.
Nice. Well, so you folks listening on Spotify or Apple Music, you want to go to the YouTube channel because you get to check this jacket out. So, Jake, I appreciate you being on the show. And the reason I'm inviting you on here is way back last summer, I don't know if you remember this, but you gave a presentation on selling in a crowded marketplace. Do you remember that?
I do very well.
Well, it's a good thing because, surprise, surprise, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Excellent.
So I've been getting the questions on mailbag for our regular listeners, and a lot of these questions really revolve around selling in a crowded marketplace. So I'm going to invite you to peel back the onions on this and the layers, and really get our audience to what they need to be thinking about on this. Okay. So let's start with the basics here. Okay, it's like one of the things I know is like qualifying observations. Your prospects or observations is key, but like when you or your folks are meeting a client for the first time, what are some of the things that you're really paying close attention to?
So first off, we want to make sure that we place the merchant with the most appropriate product set for their nature of business. So the first thing we look at is nature of business. We ask questions like, how are you guys accepting cards today? For example, if you're talking to a B2B type merchant, you should already start considering leading them down a path of a virtual terminal. Maybe giving them the capability to take ACH payments, that sort of thing.
So merchants you're talking to, do they have any ideas on this sort of thing, or they even know what you're talking about when you chat with them?
Not at all. And I use this example all the time internally, and it's so true. And that is, we have to start considering ourselves as the payment experts or digital experts, because I like to use this example, and it's very relevant. If I had an issue with my plumbing at my house and my toilet was backing up, and I was rushing out the door to get to work and had to drop the boys off at daycare, et cetera, and I call the plumber up and he comes out and he gives me a call before he makes any changes to our plumbing or before he spends any money or real time on it, I'm not going to argue with my plumber, because at the end of the day, that is his specialty. That's what he does. That's his profession. We need to start treating ourselves like that plumber would treat himself. He realizes he's the expert, and we must start believing in ourselves when it comes to that.
Well, you bring up a great point here, because why is it so many people in our industry that they don't, and I'll use your analogy here for the plumber, they don't take that stance. They feel like they got to make the merchant the expert on merchant services and drag them down the muck. Why do you think it's that way?
I feel like we put ourselves in a mindset of we are putting this merchant out for taking some time of their day to hear another sales pitch. And that just isn't the case. What you should rather consider is when you're talking to a prospect or a merchant is that, I'm here for a specific reason. And that reason may be to drive additional traffic to their location. Or that reason may be to allow them to collect payments more quickly and efficiently while saving them money. And at the end of the day, you must put yourself up here, just as that merchant considers themselves. Never put yourself underneath the merchant.
Well, obviously I have good insight in your organization and what you've done with it the last few years now. Do you how do you, or what part of this, what you're talking about, do you attribute the steep growth climb that you're seeing with your folks?
Well, it's all to do with this. And quite frankly, the RAs have a great opportunity and a great chance to always be learning. They bounce ideas off of each other. We never cornhole information from each other.
Okay.
If somebody learns something new, that's the first thing they want to do, in fact, is share it with their peers. And that's really a special thing. And we consider ourselves consultants at the end of the day. Again, just as my plumber is a consultant to me on what needs to be done to get everything operational, that's how we need to consider ourselves when approaching a merchant.
Well, so you've got a great advantage there because literally all your people, the furthest apart they are from each other is 15 or 20 feet, right?
Right on top. Yep.
So like like what do you like our lone gunmen that are out in the field? We've got people that work out of their homes and really their team may be hundreds of miles away from them. How do you think that they could tap into this sort of environment like what you described here?
I would say, find a set of mentors. It could be
Yeah.
a mentor, but I like to have two or three different people that I call on a regular basis. It's funny, like folks that want to work with our lead generation department, we have great dialogue early on, and then I think we're gonna have this amazing connection ongoing, and come to find out, I just don't hear from them anymore. And the people that work great and do a fabulous job with our SAs are those that communicate constantly with
Mhm.
them. And so I use that same example for an outside rep who wants to maybe get better in digital. Well, if they want to get better in digital, what better would be to be calling on Bree all the time, be calling on Austin, myself,
Mhm.
quite frankly, Whitney, other folks, RAs in the department who are really starting to find their own path.
So what you're talking about really is I think there's an opportunity to parlay accountability in this too, right?
Yes,
Like even if
absolutely.
I'm removed from this, I've got people that have high activity,
Yep.
seeing a lot of products, seeing a lot of merchants, seeing a lot of situations, and also I could use them to challenge them and even challenge me and
Yeah.
hold me accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really a great notion here. So let's say that back to an earlier point you made. What you're really talking about is shifting from being a salesman to being the advocate for your client or
Yep.
or business consultant here. So how do you think that informs the way you interact and your people interact with their clients?
Their confidence goes above and beyond when they take the consultative approach, because at the end of the day, again, knowing your product set, knowing the flexibility that Evolve gives you,
Mm-hmm.
with having multiples of processors in which we can board on,
Mm-hmm.
gives you diversity of products and solutions and offerings that you can give your customer.
You just took my next question away from me, but go ahead.
All right, so having that really gives you a lot of confidence. It's like that kid that in high school was part of the spelling bee, and they spun up on it to the point that they knew these words like the back of their hand. And when you have that confidence behind you, or that knowledge rather, that confidence is going to follow,
Mm-hmm.
and the merchant can really tell quickly if you don't obtain that.
Right,
And
right.
So, yeah.
I've seen that too because these folks that really take that approach is they're not really selling.
Right.
What they're doing is they're putting themselves in the merchant seat.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to find ways to reduce their costs and increase and improve their customer experience, and then they drive their sales.
Yep.
So it's not really a selling proposition anymore. It's like, hey, how do we figure this out together?
Yeah, in fact, a lot of times you'll hear them asking a lot of questions, and what they're doing is really just showing interest in the business
Yeah.
itself and the merchant and how they found their way in their industry. And sometimes you'll think, well, they're talking to their mom down there, and that's just not the case. And they take a very casual approach with a consultative approach to them at the end of the day. And that's the type of people that merchants want to work with. They want to work with folks that have their best interest in mind, but also aren't pushy salespeople.
Right, right. Well, so let's go back to what you talked about a little bit ago about learning the products and really diversifying your knowledge on this. So, I mean, there's so many products out there and so many options.
Yeah.
So how do you ensure that you and your folks that you're really taking that down to that next level of abstraction? You're not just skimming the surface.
Yeah. So one of the issues I see, because I review every contract that comes into company, is we have an obstacle to get over with a lot of our experienced reps, even that they get comfortable with a set of products.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it just be one or two different solutions. And the problem with that is you're really placing and doing a disservice to your merchant at times. Not always, but at times. And there could be a better environment, a better solution that you could have placed them with. And one other thing that you got to consider when consulting with a merchant and asking them qualifying questions is sometimes you just got to put yourself in the customer's shoes.
Uh-huh.
So when I go to a restaurant, do I like when they ask for my card, put it in the little leather binder, and then take it to the back room where I can't see my card? Or do I prefer just inserting my card for pay at the table, for example? And so we got to put ourselves in the customer's shoes at times as well as the merchants.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So Jake, I'm gonna. This is a broad topic here, so do with this what you may, right? So we've got low risk merchants, we got high risk merchants, you got all these
Mhm.
processors out there, especially someone new in the industry. I mean, where do you even begin to start to figure out what network you're even gonna put your new merchant on?
Yeah, and that goes back to the flexibility that Evolve offers you. Being a multi network ISO, considered a
Mm-hmm.
super ISO in the space, gives you that flexibility and that peace of mind, frankly, that when you're going out to speak with a merchant, big or small, huge tickets, high risk, low risk, you have their backs because there's a high probability we'll be able to help them out somewhere.
Yeah.
And so you just have that confidence going in, and you're not going to know all the answers, and that's
Rely on
fine.
your network.
Rely on your network, rely on your peers of winners.
Mm-hmm.
And I also consider our sales support team a team of winners.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't always have to be bouncing ideas off of other top reps. Use your sales support team too, because they are sharp. And
Mm-hmm.
so the networks, we have great relationships with the networks, and having a multi network arsenal also allows you to be able to integrate with a lot of solutions too. So the time of going in and saying, "Oh, well, they're on MindBody at this spa,
Right.
I might as well just leave because they're not going to leave the software." Well, that's not necessarily the case anymore. We can have a good probability of being able to integrate with one of our networks.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Jake is going to come back on Monday, and we're going to cover top part 2 of this, which is getting out of your comfort zone and asking the right questions. But until then, Jake, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, so I just would say to you, just have that confidence. Again, you are the consultant at the end of the day. They are looking to you for the answers, and you got to put yourself up here. Again, you are the specialist in the space, and know that you have the peace of mind and company backing you with the right products and services for your merchant types.
Excellent. Excellent. Jake, I'll see you back here on Monday. And folks, don't forget on Friday, we've got Mailbag Friday. And until then, keep your mind right.